Good morning, all. How are we? Sorry, just to sort out a couple of bits and pieces. He said, yeah, how are we? Good morning, TikTok. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. It is Friday, the 12th of September. The Winter Fleece. It's been a while. I think it was March. March last time the Winter Fleece was about. The Winter Fleece is back out because it is bolting. It was on last night. I wasn't on social media live last night, but I was doing a live for my community. So it was out last night. And it's definitely out this morning. We were at the house at 7 this morning. We've been to the gym and it was cold. 10 degrees in the car, which technically isn't that bad. But we've had such a good summer. We have. We can't whinge about summer this year. Anyone that says we've not had a good summer, there's something wrong with you, or you don't live in the UK. I say that, though. Maybe around, I don't know, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Northern Scotland might not have been the best. I don't know. But it's certainly been great around where I've lived. Like, for summer for the UK, it's hardly rained. It's been fairly warm. We've had some good blasts of sunshine. I've had a good few days in the garden, top of the tan up. So summer's been all right. Summer's been decent. Anyway, there we go. So, yes, it's Friday. We are towards the end of the working week for many. I will be finishing work tomorrow. I'm going to say around about 12:30-ish. I'm not finishing work around about 12:30. I'm finishing doing check-ins at 12:30 tomorrow. Then it's challenge stuff. The challenge is I always not leave things to the last minute. I actually like doing it last minute. Not when I say last minute. So I've got the Boss Weight Loss Challenge starting on Monday. I've just got to get all challenge sheets out. If you are starting on Monday, your challenge is done. It's all good. I just need to download it, stick it in an email, and ping it over to you. So you're all ready to go, and that'll be done today. I have no idea what time it'll be done today. It could be 2 in the afternoon. It could be 10 o'clock tonight. More likely to be 10 o'clock tonight than 2 in the afternoon, but we'll see where we get to. My first mission is check-ins. So I'm going to get my head down, get stuck into check-ins. There are currently 57 check-ins sat in my WhatsApp, and there will be more coming in. It is manic check-in day. So I've got to get my head down and get stuck into check-ins. I normally do about 10 check-ins an hour. So I've got at least 6 hours worth of check-ins to do, which we're going to crack on with it just after 10 o'clock. So they should, I'm going to have a break. I'm going to walk the dogs. They should be done for 5 o'clock tonight that have come in so far. And then it's okay. But if I get my head down and I get through them a bit quicker, it just depends how much feedback I need to give clients. If all 50 odd check-ins that have come in so far, everyone's lost weight, I can do 15, 20 check-ins in an hour. If people are struggling a little bit, my job as a coach is then to chip in and help them and give them some advice for the next couple of weeks until they check in again. So anyway. There we go. That is is that my job? Yeah, that's my job today. So a busy one. If you are starting the challenge a week on Monday, I will get all your details out. It's probably going to be tomorrow. If I'm going to be totally honest with you, it's probably going to be tomorrow. I've written about 4 challenges. I've got about 10 to write. And then I'll need to set them all up, put them into an email. So that's probably going to be tomorrow afternoon. Rachel's out all day tomorrow. She's going shopping with a friend to the Trafford Centre that she's not seen for about 6 months. They're going to go have a good catch up. So I'm just going to have a bit of a working day, footy on the telly, and just crack on. Anyway, there we go. So we'll do a top 5 this morning on TikTok. Who's in at number 1 this morning? Callum's been slacking this week. Let's have a look, see if he's about this morning. Mr. John Jackson's in at number 1. James is in at number 2. Tina's in at number 3. Kelly C's in at number 4. And Katie is in at number 5. Good morning, guys. Thank you very much for jumping straight to live. Come in and saying hello. Jill, the chicken veg ready meal looked great from Morrison's. Honestly, there is a full review of it on Worth the Calories today. It's a 290 calorie ready meal, right? So if you're expecting gourmet, right, you're expecting something but you've got to take into context, it's 290 calories. And it was lovely. It's chicken in a white wine creamy sauce. It does say on the back, this product does contain alcohol, right? So if you are teetotal, right? If you are teetotal, for whatever reason, I think you'll be safe with it. But if you don't drink alcohol, maybe for religious purposes, it might be one to swerve. I don't know. I have no idea how strict you may be with it. Anyway, and you know, and when I picked it up, it just said chicken and greens and 290 calories. So I'm like, oh, right, oh, it's chicken and a bit of green veg with a little bit of sauce. No wonder it's 290 calories. It's got rice in it as well. It's like a proper meal. It's like a chicken supreme. It's like chicken supreme, creamy chicken in a sauce, some rice and some peas, beans, broccoli, and spinach. And it was lovely. It's right on my street. I love stuff like that. Love stuff like that. And it was right, mate, for 290 calories. Not the biggest portion in the world. I don't know if I talked about the portion. I always look at. I think it was the standard portion size for a ready meal, which is about 380 grams. Does anyone? I asked this in the Worth the Calories. That'll be out today, by the way. That'll be out today, so you can watch the review of it. At some point today. That's another thing I've got to do today. Is edit Worth the Calories. That actually might be out tomorrow, but we'll see again where we get to. So yeah, is anyone working food production? Why is 300? Like, don't get me wrong, you get ready meals that are a bit less, you get ready meals that are a bit more, but 380 grams, it seems like such a random number. It seems to be a very common number for ready meal, like volume size, weight. Like, there's loads of ready meals. So like I bought 2 of the Protein Morrison's meals to review and 1 of the chicken and veg meals to review. At that counted range, and they're all 380 grams. I don't know this. It's probably nothing. I don't know. Anyway, we had good spoons weather. What this? Yeah, absolutely. But it's changed now, and this is what I talk about this time of year. This is why I say that there's trickier times and there's harder and easier times to lose weight, and the summer is just a bit of a trickier time. Whereas the weather today, if my mate messaged me tomorrow and said, do you fancy an afternoon like in the beer garden? I'm like, no, it's peeing it down. What do you fancy go to the pub anyway? I'm like, no, I'm not bothered to. And I'd be like, I'd seriously be like, don't worry, I'd love to go to the pub. But, it's about balance, isn't it? Whereas, Saturday afternoon and the sun's shining and it's this, that, and the other, we'd like to go to the pub. Yep. Yes, I'd love to. Anyway, Emma's in on YouTube. Good morning, Emma. I've not spoken to you for Sydney for ages. Probably the beginning of the year. Hope you're all good. Hope everything's going well with your journey and you're getting to where you want to be. Emma used to be a client of mine. I think you've been on client twice actually, Emma. And hopefully you found a good rhythm and routine with your journey. Yasmin, good morning. Happy Friday. Good morning, Yasmin. Happy Friday to you too. Kevin's in. Morning, boss. Looking cozy today. Yeah, the big fleece is out. I've had to put heating on and my winter coats are too big. We love that, don't we? To be honest with you, Rachel bought me this fleece for Christmas last year, and I was 3 stone heavier last Christmas than I am now, and it is absolutely massive on me. But you can wear them big. It's got drawstrings at the bottom, so I pulled them nice and tight and tucked it in a little bit. But you can wear things this big, can't you? I like having big, baggy hoodies. Does that make sense? But my coat, I am a bit worried about because, again, I've got I love North Face stuff. It's absolute for what you pay for it. The quality is amazing, and it's always on sale. Always on sale. I've got a North Face Gotham jacket. They are amazing, right? They're absolutely sensational for a winter coat. Brand new, they're 450 quid, but they're always off. Like buy one next year in March, right? And they're half price. So the one I've got, I bought in March, either 22 or 23, and it was 225 quid. And I bought a North Face Gotham jacket. In fact, we'll try it. We'll try it in 2015, right? And it was too small for me, right? It was too small for me. And it was an XL, which I bought in 2015. But it wasn't been 2015. It'd have been 2016. I went through a phase where I went really skinny fat. I know that sounds daft. I was still quite heavy, but I didn't have much size on me. I don't know. I don't know. Was it 2016? It might have been 20. Anyway, I've had it nearly probably 7 or 8 years. Anyway, 2022 or 23, it was too small. It's an XL. And it didn't fit me. So I bought a new one in a 2XL, and it fit. And the 2XL actually was slightly too big. So I don't know what it's going to be like. Let's go and try the XL one. I've got it in here. Hang on, one sec. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself because it's probably still too small. Right, hang on, I'm here. So this is a North Face Gotham jacket. They're absolutely amazing. Been out for years, and this is the second one that I've got. And this was too small for me, so I had to buy a new one. And it's I can prove it to you. It's an XL. Let's see if it fits me now. Now I'm a good bit of weight down. Watch it. What? To be fair, it always fastened on me. It was just a bit tight. Oh no, I still think I think it's still slightly snug. It's my hips. Man. Oh no, it's all right. No, it's all right. It's not bad. It's not bad. Maybe just a touch. But in 20 when I fastened it, I looked like a Michelin man. So it's not too bad. I reckon another. I have just eaten carbs as well, so I'm a bit bloated, but that's not too bad. But these coats. This needs dry cleaning. It absolutely stinks. These coats are amazing. Anyway, that's the XL one. I'm going to get it dry cleaned and I'm going to sell it. Does anyone want it? It's 10 years old and it is as good. The quality of North Face is just amazing for the money. It really is. Stick. Like I bought, not stupidly, I actually got it at a really good price. Canada Goose Gilet, and I absolutely love it. It's really, really nice and it's really, really warm. But for what it costs compared to a North Face one, it's not really that much better. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, there we go. Just fasten. It's all right. It's not a million miles away. Anyway, we'll take that. But I highly recommend them coats. They're amazing. That definitely needs dry cleaning. It stinks. Right, there we go. Let's have a scan now, see who else is in this morning. Yasmin, good morning. I think I've said good morning to you. Kevin, does anyone remember Joe's sausages? Do they still exist? No, I don't know what a Joe's sausage is. Leanne, morning. Kevin, I looked at Morrison's braised beef and mashed micro meal the other day. 400 grams, 326 calories, 24.3 grams. Right? Have you tried it? No. I'm going to do a little series on, obviously, I don't judge things. I don't judge books by their covers. I don't do that. I don't demonize any food whatsoever. So just because something's got protein written on it, I don't know, I'm not eating that protein, it's just a marketing gimmick. I just think, let's have a look at the macros. And yes, you do get some products. In fact, I've done one in this week's worth of calories that just isn't worth the protein label, right? And what people need to understand is, I think a lot of people judge protein products. Well, a lot of gym goers do, or, gym sharks or gym freaks or whatever you want to call them, judge it because, it should be 10 calories per gram, this and that. Anything where 20% of the calories comes from protein is high protein. Now, the RDA of proteins, the recommended daily allowance of protein a day for an adult is between 50 and 60 grams. And there's about 8% of people in this country don't even hit that, right? So, yeah, if you're trying to eat 3 protein a day and be a pro bodybuilder, having a ready meal that only has 25 grams of protein in it for 400 calories, might not tick the box for you. I don't promote protein for bodybuilders. I promote protein for satiety to help fill us up while we're on a weight loss journey. So, but I'm going to do a little, look about at some ready meals that don't have the word protein on that are high in protein, because there's plenty out there. And all you need is a ready meal that's got a decent amount of protein in it and is lower in fat. That's all you need. So, like Kevin said there, Morrison's braised beef and mash, 400-gram portion. So it's bigger than that 380 I was going on about before. 326 calories to 24.3 grams of protein is decent. And the thing there is, because it is such low calorie, you can have yourself a protein pudding afterwards or a protein mousse, and you're still under 500 calories. And then you're going to be at like 40 odd grams of protein, like 45 grams of protein. So, but no, I haven't tried it. I will do it. And who doesn't love a bit of braised beef and mash? Oh, I'll have a look. I'm going to go around super. I'm going to do all the major supermarkets, and I'm going to go. I'll do Asda, Tesco, Morrison, Sainsbury's. And I'll try and get 3 ready meals from each one that I feel is a decent high protein option meal. I'm not telling you to eat ready meals 7 days a week, but like yesterday, I was just absolutely mobbed out. I'm going to be the same today. And it was just a case of, now I actually had that meal yesterday and I reviewed it for worth the calories, but sometimes you just need a bit of, just sometimes you want to ping, or you forgot to make your dinner. It's just something you can grab in the fridge. Yes, ideally in an ideal world, and this is the thing, we don't live in an ideal world. We don't. There's certain events that have happened this week that prove that to us, that we don't live in an ideal world. And because of that, we can't live like robots where everything is absolutely perfect day in, day out. So sometimes you need a bit of convenience, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially if it keeps you on course and you lose weight. Morning, Nicola. Good morning. I'm loving getting into your content again. Sound advice always. Nicola, thank you very much, and hope you'll do good. Getting some old schoolers jumping on, coming and saying hello. Hope you're all good. Maybe, again, I think this time of year we do end up with a bit more focus on the old weight loss journey, getting out of summer. So maybe that's why people are maybe just sort of rocking up a little bit. But I hope you're good, Nick, and hope you, again, same as Emma, I hope you're doing really well on your journey. Right, let's go back into TikTok. I think I've said hello to the top 5. Where did I get to? If I've missed you, I got to Katie. I know that. Oh, we got to the chicken and veg meal, and then we got a bit distracted. Let's have a look. Oh, Raising, just go to the gym, going to listen while I'm here. Brilliant, mate. Have a good session. Regan's just come back onto plan. She started on Monday. I've not seen your plan over yet. Anyone that started on Monday, your plans will come today. All right, so I'm going to have one hell of a Friday. Trust me. It's all right. It's all good. I love it. And I genuinely mean that. I love it. It's just going to be a rather busy Friday. It's all good. Tesco beans and sausage tin, 24 grams of protein, 15 grams of fiber, 60p. Definitely a staple for busy days. That's amazing. What are the calories like? They'd be under 400. Beans and sausage is normally about 200 calories for half a tin. So for a full tin, if it's 400 calories, you get 24 grams of protein and 15 grams of fiber. So again, we can look at a product. So things that fill us up. And what is it about filling us up? It's about slowing down digestion, like what we call gastric emptying, right? So basically when food travels from stomach to small intestine, right? And high protein, high fiber diets keep food longer in the stomach because it's longer to break down before it travels into the small intestine. And the more food sits in your stomach for longer, the fuller you feel. Right? And this is the big thing about GLP-1s. Everyone's jumping, the Manjaro and all this, that, and the other. They don't cause fat loss. They just slow down gastric emptying. And the knock-on effect of that is it keeps you fuller for longer, and it's like it reduces food noise in your brain because you're not thinking about food because the signals aren't there. Because when the signals of hunger, so we have 2 hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin is the hormone that tells us we are hungry. Leptin is the hormone that tells us we are satisfied. Well, a GLP, by slowing down gastric emptying, your leptin hormone is more efficient, that tells us we're satisfied. And if we're feeling more satisfied for longer, we do have reduced food noise, right? Now, don't get me wrong. You can end up in situations where you don't physically feel hungry, but you're still having food noise. That's a psychological hunger, right? And sometimes Manjaro might not help you with that. I have had clients in the past that have, ramped up MJ to 10 milligrams, and they sort of describe it like, I don't want to eat anything, but I still want to eat. And I'm like, well, that's your psychological hunger. That's your emotional eating issues. And if that's not being taken away, you need to work on it yourself. You need to work on anything that triggers you to want to turn to food. You need to work on your lifestyle to remove those triggers. That's it, right? That how it works, And I'm up to now, I'm up to about 30 people that I'm coaching that are on Manjaro. And, with all varying degrees of success. And I'm actually now working with about 5 clients to bring them off it because they've just decided some of it's financial reasons because of the price gains, some of it's due to side effects. So there's lots of ups and downs. But you know, what a GLP-1 gives you, you can achieve that naturally. Hence why I've managed to learn self-control around food without any outside sources, right? I've done a post this morning. I fancied some cereal for my breakfast, right? Just fancied it. Like, no reason behind it. I was just, recently I've been putting a bit of cereal on my yogurt bowl instead of granola, and I'll never have a bowl of granola. Right? It's way too calorie dense for a good, you put like, and I think again, it's a bit of a psychological thing. You put 100 grams of granola in a bowl, it looks like nothing. Put 100 grams of Rice Krispies in a bowl and it's brimming, right? And we do satiety. There's lots of different levels to satiety. So the slowing down of gastric emptying, the slowing down of digestion of food traveling from stomach to small intestine is one part of it. Another thing is, like, we can feel satisfied through psychology. So if you have this was an old, like, not an old wives' tale, it was an old sort of like trick for dieting, wasn't it? Use a smaller plate. So if you have a plate that's this big, right, and you have a plate that's this big, and you put the same amount of food on both plates, one will look like a big portion and one will look like a small portion. And when you look at something like, oh, that's a big portion, it helps with you feeling satisfied. Right? So there's lots of different tick boxes for feeling satisfied, right? And it's really, really fun. Like, we've got two different types of plates. We've got, and you'll have seen my pictures that I do. We've got like these grey plates that we got from the range. Well, I think they're both from the range. And then we've got these white plates I've ducked on. The white plates are much bigger than the grey plates. I use the grey plates 90% of the time. The only time I use the white plates that we have is if I'm doing something like a roast dinner where it's got masses of volume, right? So tonight I'm having pasta, gammon and broccoli, right? And because it's pasta, the portion is going to be fine. I won't be hungry afterwards. But if I dish that up on one of my white plates, psychologically, it would look like such a smaller pot compared to my grey plates. Does that kind of make sense? Now, don't get me wrong. If you then decide, well, why don't you just use a side plate, like a sandwich plate? Your brain knows it still needs to be a dinner plate. Again, it's all psychological trickery in a way, So there's lots of different things to that, but you can, right, mute food noise. People might argue against that. People might go, no, I've done the high protein, high fiber diets, Neil, and I still have food noise. Psychological hunger, right? You can eat as much protein and fiber as you want, right? You can use all the tips and tricks. But if you've got emotional triggers around food, MJ won't take that away. I've got loads of clients that are on MJ and they're going, oh, this week everything's good. This week the food noise is back. The food noise is back not because Manjaro suddenly stopped working overnight. It's because for whatever reason, the week that food noise is back, you've got more emotional triggers. But unfortunately, a lot of people that are using Manjaro aren't working on their issues around food while using Manjaro. They're just using that as a tool to try and numb everything. And these are the same people that when they come off it, they'll just gain all their weight back, right? Or they'll yo-yo with it. They'll come off it for 3 months, gain a stone back, and then go back on it and lose that stone, and then come off it, and they'll just spend their life doing that. Now, obviously, we build up a suppression to Manjaro, so you can only use it for so long. The data is too raw to know how long. Obviously, if you build up a suppression to something, not a suppression, like an antidote, as it were. Is it a suppression? I don't know. Like you build up. You build up like an immunity. Sorry, not a suppression. You build up an immunity to it over time. The body gets used to it, same as it would if you constantly take a certain antibiotic. That antibiotic eventually would become ineffective. The data is too raw to know, but if you come off that antibiotic and don't use it for a year, right? If you start taking it again, it probably would have some effect. We think that will be the case with Manjaro, but we don't know. The data is too raw. Yeah. Anyway, Tesco beans and sausage, 470 calories a tin. So slowing down gastric emptying, keeping you fuller for longer, which will help reduce your hunger, will help you control calories. It will help to reduce food noise, but only so much. Just like Manjaro will only help to reduce food noise so much, unless you're absolutely, taking way too much of the stuff. So protein's number 1, fiber's number 2. And if you get a product like that, so yeah, we might look at that 10 calories to 1 gram of protein ratio. If you look at that tin of beans there, 474 calories for 24 grams of protein, you're talking 0.5 grams of protein for 10 calories. And a lot of people have dismissed that. But if you then back that up with 15 grams of fiber, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. You get sort of like you have that tin on 2 pieces of Jason sourdough. Yes, you're going to be at a meal that's 700 calories, but you're going to be 700 calories, nearly 50 grams of protein, and probably nearly your full daily allowance of fiber, right? Or recommended allowance of fiber, Anyway, Nicola, I've been on Port MJ by my GP, so I'm losing weight again, but your advice is invaluable to make sure I'm fueling myself. Absolutely. Like I say, MJ's not a miracle cure, right? It's not good, and people will lose weight on it, but you still need to change your lifestyle while you're on it. You have to, if you want long-term success. Too many people aim for short-term success. I changed by following your plan before I started Manjaro. Alison is absolutely Ali_CC is an OG client of mine. We've been working together for years and years and years. She's done absolutely amazing, lost over 10 stone. And she has recently been put on Manjaro by her GP, which I'm not saying I don't disagree with, because I know the reasons behind why they have done it. But before Alison went on to Manjaro, she'd lost 10 stone. She changed her entire life. And as Alison's put there, she totally changed her relationship with food before she's put on it. And by going on to Manjaro by her GP, it's just going to finish off the last little bit. And that's all she needs to do now. She just needs to finish off the last, in the grand scheme of things. But she's in the 10 stone club of weight loss with me and done that naturally. She's done that naturally. And I'm not going to go into the reasons why she's been moved on to MJ after 10 stone of weight loss. Yeah, you've done absolutely amazing, Alison. And because of that, you are still going to carry on with long-term success, right? So when you come off it, you still, you've just got to make sure while you're on it, you've got to keep the tools in place that you've put into your life over the last couple of years that's allowed you to lose that 10 stone. We don't want to get complacent. That's the biggest thing. But I don't think you will. I think you've turned your whole life around, and it is going to get better. I know you've got some struggles still, but that's just, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It might not seem like it a little bit at the moment, but there is. Yeah. Right. Let me scan up. I put £7 on the up. What from James? You're on. I don't think James will mind me saying this. James is on a bit of self-destruct at the moment, a little bit. We're going to rein him in. He's starting the challenge on Monday, and I think he's quite a competitive person, and he's been asking a lot of questions about the challenge. So I think he's kind of hanging on for that, really. And hopefully we'll get things to kick in. But we need to, I think you're self-sabotaging. Well, you are self-sabotaging. I know you are. And I've not really gone into too much depth with James about it, because I kind of feel I'd rather, when someone is self-sabotaging, right, and they're just, they're just not prioritizing the journey or themselves at the moment for whatever reason. I'd rather people naturally get back at it rather than me having to step in. And I think with James, I've took my foot off the gas with him a little bit on purpose, because we've got a chat, and I just want to see what his motivation is going to be like when we start the challenge. If it's still the same as it was a month ago, then we're really going to step in and we'll get you back on track, mate. We will, What's your Vinted handle? I'll check the cost out. It's not. I'm not going to put it out there. I think I might be called the Real Lost Boss on it, actually. Or it'd be something Neil Scurry. It'd be my name. I can't remember what it is. There's nothing really on my Vinted at the moment. I think there's a couple of footy shirts or something else. I've got loads of stuff out this week that I've been ironing, and it's all hung up. And I don't know if anyone else is like, I love doing Vinted. It's a really good way to make a bit of money and sell and clear out some wardrobe stuff and this, that, and the other. But I like doing it in bulk. I literally like having 20 items and just spending an hour hanging them up, taking the pictures, bang, getting it on. So that was a mission for tomorrow afternoon. That coat, I'm going to get it dry cleaned. So I'll send it off to the dry cleaners. And then I don't know if I'll be putting that one on the other one, to be honest. I'll see what that's like when it comes back. It actually fit me then. Fit me better than I thought it was going to fit me. Just a little, just around my hips. I can just feel it grip a little bit around my hips. But that other one that I bought was slightly too big. That'd fit you perfect, John, I think. 'Cause you're a little bit shorter than me. You're a couple of stone lighter than me, but you're a little bit shorter than me. So I think that one would fit you. Yeah, and the thing about them Gotham jackets is, you know, sometimes it's nice to have, like, this is really baggy on me, but I'd actually wear this like when it's really cold but dry. I'd wear a hoodie and then put this on. Then Gotham, you do not need a hoodie on. You do not need anything on, right? You honestly don't. You don't need anything. You can wear that in the coldest of days with just a t-shirt on underneath, and you'll be red hot, right? Because they're like they're designed for walking to the Antarctic. They're like not goose down. They're like, it might be duck down actually. Something like that. I can't remember what it is, but they're really flipping warm. They're really warm. But yeah, I will. When I've uploaded, I've got a few. I've got 3 or 4 Gymshark t-shirts that I'm going to put on. I've got 3 or 4 hoodies that are too big for me now that I'm going to put on. I've got some t-shirts that I'm going to put on that I'm just not going to wear anymore. I'll get that coat dry cleaned and I'll stick that on. I've got a really, really nice. That actually, it's a 2XL. It's a Hugo Boss leather jacket, and it is stunning. Like, it's a 600 quid leather jacket. It's absolutely amazing. I didn't pay 600 quid for it. I got it half price in a sale. And even when I was at my leanest at 16.5 stone, it was slightly snug. It's a very slim fit, and there's no giving it whatsoever. I'll never get back into. I don't think I'll ever get back into that jacket. So I need to get that. I don't know if you dry clean leather jackets. It's just been sat in my wardrobe for ages. I'll find out how to get it professionally cleaned. So I'm going to put that on my Vinted as well. So I would say it fits more like a slim fit XL, but it's absolutely the quality of it is unbelievable. How nice a jacket it is, and it's a bit like a biker jacket style. Really, really nice. I'd love to be able to get into it again. I'd definitely wear it again. Yeah, I'm going to put quite a few bits on over the next couple of weeks. Once it's all uploaded, I'll stick it on my. I'll stick it on, if I'll let you guys know, but I'll stick it on my Instagram as well to promote it. I put a load of Gymshark stuff on in the recycling bag last week. In the recycling bag, it goes like Billy O Gymshark stuff on Vinted. It absolutely flies out. Absolutely flies out. I absolutely love Project Rock Under Armour stuff, right? And I had loads of it in an XL that was too small for me. And it flipping fit me now. And I sold it all at the beginning of the year. It flies out. Gymshark stuff just flip crazy. Like Gymshark t-shirts. Like I got this Gymshark Crest t-shirt on now, right? And I think I got this in the sale for 20 quid, right? If I put it on Vinted now for 15, it'd go for 12. And I've worn it loads. Like, honestly, Gymshark stuff just flies out. So don't bin any Gymshark stuff. Get it on Vinted. It absolutely flies. Honestly, it really does. I'm not ready to finance a winter wardrobe yet, but I have lost 3 stone since last winter. I think you're luckier with winter clothes. I genuinely do. I think you can wear them quite baggy. I think winter is the baggy season, right? It really, really is. So I've had to be a bit like that with a lot of my hoodies. I'm like, that's too big. I'm like, no, you can wear a baggy hoodie. Baggy hoodies are great. Managed a pre-holiday loss, so I'm very, very happy. Brilliant, Paul. That's great to hear. Let me scan down, see if I've missed anything. I don't think I have. I've been a bit worried today. I feel like, you know, at the beginning of the day, you're like, you're going to have a hungry day today. That is how I felt. I was driving home from the gym and I said to Rachel, I'm going to have a hungry day. So I've planned my entire day's eating already, which I always do anyway. I always pre-plan my eating, certainly when I'm on it. I won't say always, but when I'm focused, I am. And especially if I know it's going to be a struggle today. So this is what my eating is today. And this is what is going to combat, right, my hungry day. This is how you do it if you're going to be hungry for the day. So I have had some peanut butter cereal and protein. I just fancied it, right? And if you fancy something, I fancied it all week, to be honest with you. And the longer you go without it, the more you crave it, right? And I said to Rachel this morning, we're training in the gym. I fancy some fast digesting carbs anyway, which is cereal. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have a fast digesting carb and then you eat it with a decent amount of protein, it kind of counterbalances the effect, but it will still be there. And I have protein shake as the milk. You fit vanilla protein shake with the cocoa and peanut butter balls from Aldi is one of the best combinations. It is absolutely delicious. 414 calories, 26.6 grams of protein. All right, I'm then going to finish this live in 10 minutes and do an hour and a half worth of check-ins. Then I'm going to have an early lunch because I know it's going to be a hungry day, so I'm eating often today. I'm not going longer than 3 hours before I eat. So I have my breakfast at about 9. I'm going to have my lunch at 11:45. So 2 hours, 45 minutes after having my breakfast, right? Before the hunger really kicks in, I'm going to suppress it. And for lunch, I am having a 4-egg plain omelette, just seasoned with salt and pepper, half a tin of beans, 1 slice of Jason's wholemeal sourdough bread, buttered. That is my lunch, right? And it's 575 calories, 38.4 grams of protein, and 11.5 grams of fiber. I'm having that 11:45. At 2 p.m., right, I'm having 200 grams of Greek yogurt with 25 grams of whey protein powder. That's it. Right? I'm having no fruit, no granola, just a really calorie-controlled protein pot. 202 calories for 39 grams of protein, right? That is going to keep me going then till 6 o'clock. I'm going to go 4 hours then without eating, right? And then for tea, I'm having 75 grams of dried fusilli whole wheat pasta, mixed with a quarter of a jar of the Aldi specially selected sun-dried tomato pasta sauce, 30 grams of light soft cheese to make it creamy mixed in. I'm having that with 200 grams of gammon with all the fat off and 100 grams of broccoli. That's 647 calories, 67 grams of protein, 12 grams of fiber, right? And then evening snacks tonight, I'm having 20 grams of proper Proper's the brand, proper prawn cocktail lentil chips, and half a Misfits caramel fudge protein bar. That is my eating today. 2,020 calories, 180.5 grams of protein, and 30 grams of fiber. Now, on top of that, I'm probably going to chuck a bit of fruit in here and there, but I don't know yet. So when I have my yogurt bowl, I might have an apple with it, right? Or tonight when I'm having my evening snacks, I might have an apple with it. So I might have another 100 calories of fruit throughout the day. But, you know, if you know you're going to be hungry throughout the day, I've planned my eating. That's my menu. I'm making sure I don't go long periods of time without sticking food in my trap, which is a great way to keep hunger at bay. When you know your next meal, it's kind of like there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You know, I know I'm eating at 11:45. I know I'm eating at 2 o'clock. I know I'm eating at 6 o'clock. You kind of tell your body that that's when you're going to get food. So just chill your beans until you get your food in. Yeah. Until you get your food in. Yeah, and it's pre-planned. And this now, my NutriCheck today is just my menu. I just need to go through it. It's just my menu. So I've got all my measurements in and everything sticks in. And that'll have me banking. Even if I have 100 grams, even if I have 100 calories of fruit, that will then still have me banking going into the weekend 2,100 calories. So I've got plenty of calories going into the weekend. I've got no plans this weekend. So there you go. Fail to plan to fail. The fleece is fire. What's the name of it? I know it's North Face. I think it is. I'll find it for you. Right? It is. I absolutely love this fleece. They do it in all different colours, but I love this colour. Rachel got it me for Christmas. It's whatever it is. They do like a Glacier 60 fleece, which I've got 2 or 3 of. And I think this is the Glacier 100. So it's like proper thick, but it's whatever. It's about 100 quid. So if you go on to North Face and look at fleeces, the Glacier 60, maybe I've just didn't realize that. The Glacier 60 is 60 quid. Is that because is it called the 60 because of the price? I think that's right. Let me have a Google. Honestly, I can't recommend these fleeces enough. They're absolutely amazing. I would say the only downside to this fleece is, and it's only probably because I'm 6'5", I've got a really long body. And you might like this. They're like a box fit. They're not very long. I'd rather have a longer. I like my clothes to be longer. Certainly, I like my tops. It's what I really struggle with. I don't like short tops. Is that the right one? No, it might not be. Oh no, the Glacier 100 is the 60 quid fleece. What's this one called then? I don't know. I'll tell you. I'm invested in it now. I'm on the North Face website. It is a great fleece though. It really, really is. I love it. In fact, I want another one, but in a different colour. I might get that in an XL, so it's a bit smaller. Let me just search fleece. That's women's one. Let me filter by males. Why is there no gender? Men. I think they're unisex, to be fair, but no, it's not that one because that's 160 quid. I might weigh 160 quid. What's it got? No, it's not got zips on it. I don't know. It's 100 quid one. Anyway, they're all different prices. It's 100 quid. Can't find it. It might have been last year. Oh no, it's that. Is it that one there? It might be that one there. TNF. I'm positive it wasn't called that when I got it. But anyway, let me flip me thing round. I think it's that one there because that's got the same zip as I've got, which is the men's TNF fleece ski. Oh, there it is. That's it. It's a skiing fleece. Yeah, fleece. It is that one. It is that one. I don't know why it says it's between. It's probably down to size. How much is that if you get the XL one? 90 quid. Yeah, that'd be it. It's that one there. Right, that's the badge there. But obviously, I've got it in a different colour. They've only got green and that sort of green on the website. Rachel got me this off Christmas, and I think she got it from ASOS. So maybe it's an ASOS exclusive. I don't know. But anyway, glad you like the fleece, and I always like to help out. You know, a bit of fashion with the Real Lost Boss. I do that. Add my food for the day, then just add extra fruit. I stick to it if it's in my app. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like, it is a big, you know, I always say if it ain't in your app, don't put it in your track. But pre-tracking like that, planning your days eating, putting it in. And then I could have adjusted that. So I know, because I know I feel like I'm going to have a hungry day today. I know I need loads of protein. I know I need a good amount of fiber, right? And I know I need a good amount of food. And that there ticks all the boxes. I've got protein. I've got fiber. I've got volume. And I've got stuff that tastes good. You know, omelette, beans, bread. Perfect. And I was thinking of having just 4 fried eggs and half a tin of beans on a piece of toast, but I'm going to omelette it. I love it. Why do eggs taste? Eggs just taste totally different, don't they, the way you make them? Like a fried egg, and I know it's like, well, you've got the white and the yolk and then you're mixing it up, but like scrambled egg and an omelette is the same. I make them exactly the same in terms of I just beat the eggs up and I put them in a pan and I scramble them. Or I put it in a flat pan and then I flip it over and it's an omelette. So there's no extra ingredients. Salt, black pepper, that's it. Egg, salt, black pepper. An omelette tastes totally different to scrambled eggs. But with an omelette, you tend to put a bit of colour on, right? Whereas you don't. So, and my scrambled eggs I always make very, very creamy. But I always make my omelette a bit runny, right? I always have, when I fold my omelette over, I always like a bit of like, I suppose you would say it's not cooked egg in the middle of my omelette. It's warm, you know. Yeah, but eggs, I always say that about dairy milk. Why is it dairy milk, whether it's a flake tastes different to a whisper tastes different to a twirl tastes different to just a block of dairy milk. It's all dairy milk, just in different shapes. Pasta's the same. Penne pasta, fusilli, spaghetti, all taste different. It's the same thing, just cut into different shapes. Why does it always taste different? It's all in here. It's all in here. It's all psychological. Neil, it doesn't really matter. I know, but I like to know. What time? Right, I'm going in 5. I'm going in 5. I don't know how long I've been on for, actually. I said I was coming on for 45 minutes, but I'll go at 15:15. And then I've just got to I've not done any check-ins yet today. That's kind of how Friday's run at the moment. We're getting up, going to the gym, and then doing a live, and then I'm free for the day just to get all my work done. And I'm quite enjoying it, really. I never used to like having a backup of check-ins in my WhatsApp. I always found it a bit overwhelming. Like, I've got 58 check-ins to do. and you do 20 check-ins and you feel like you're not getting anywhere. But I've kind of taught my brain that it's all right. And you are, wherever you do them as they, whether you do a couple of hours in the morning, then go to the gym, then come back and do a couple of hours, or you go and get all your bit, do something else, then come back. It's the same thing. I never finish any early, whether I just have them all in and just crack on now, or I go do 2 hours work, then gym, then an hour work, then a live. It doesn't make a difference. We don't care, Neil. We're not really interested about you, mate. All right, I'm sorry. If you're starting your journey now, do you think you would have used GLP-1 with how popular it is? It's a great question. I've been asked it a lot. It's a question that I've been asked a good few times this year. And the honest answer is, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Would I be leaning more towards yes? Probably. But because when I started my weight loss journey, I went, I was very... What I know now about weight loss, I didn't know when I started my journey. I was kind of just, shooting in the dark a lot of the time. Now, don't get me wrong. The approach I took is pretty much what I do now, right? Looking at calories on a day-to-day basis, having a couple of treat days a week. I did it differently. My relationship with food was rubbish, right? And my relationship with weight loss was rubbish. I didn't have any confidence. I didn't have any confidence that I was going to achieve what I achieved. Right. And I only achieved what I achieved because of what I put in. But again, I didn't sit before I started my weight loss journey. Go, right, let's look at calories because that's the only way we lose body fat. Let's put some treat nights in because that will stop you being overly restricted. Right. So it'll make it more sustainable. Yeah. Let's do some walking because that will really help with your overall calorie burn and it will contribute towards improving your mental health, which is shit. Let's do some regular exercise, which will be the cream on top for improving your mental health, right? Because it's absolutely garbage. I didn't know these are what the things I did, right? Let's eat loads of protein, right? Because it'll help fill you up, which will help control your appetite. So I started looking at calories for the simple reason that I didn't know what a calorie deficit was when I started my weight loss journey. I didn't have a flipping clue. But I've been told several times throughout my life, you need to go on a calorie controlled diet. When I did Slim Fast will help as part of a calorie controlled diet. Going to anything, any garbage like Juice Plus will help as part of a calorie. So I was like, why not? Everything will help as part of a calorie controlled diet. No one ever mentioned calories. When I got dragged to a dietitian at 9 years of age, Neil needs to go on a calorie controlled diet. No one ever mentioned calories after that. They told me foods I should eat and foods I shouldn't eat. They never went into maybe the science of it and like, we burn this many calories. So I just sort of said to myself, right, I've tried everything. Like loads of people that come on my lives. I've done everything and I can't lose weight. I've done that. The one thing I'd never actually done was look at calories. And I've always worked as a bookkeeping accountant part-time for my dad, even though it was never my full-time job. So numbers just work with me. So like I just, I've always been good with numbers. So I was like, let's look at numbers. So and I didn't really research it loads. I was just basically, how many calories should I eat? The average male, this is what nutritional labels told me in 2014, needs between 2,000 and 2,500 calories a day, right? Well, I'm not the average male because I'm 37 stone and I'm 6'5". So let's go to the top end of that. 2,000. That was it. That is how I decided to. That's how I started my weight loss journey, eating 2,500 calories a day. It just so happens it was a decent amount of calories, and I obviously never felt overly restricted on it, right? And it just worked. And I actually ate a bit more than that because I had these treat nights. Why I had these treat nights wasn't because, right, if I still eat a couple of days a week some of the foods I love, like a Chinese takeaway and a bit of chocolate and crisps, right, that's going to stop me feeling overly restricted. Why I actually ate that way was because in the past, I'd always gone to extremes with my eating. And I thought, I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to kind of meet myself a little bit in the middle. Now, obviously, maybe I thought that would then make dieting more enjoyable and would hopefully keep me on it longer. But I didn't know the success it was going to have from doing that. Why I ate a lot of protein from the start of my journey was because a friend of mine who's a bodybuilder, he's just absolutely covered in muscle left, right, and center. He's a really good guy, and you get very influenced by physique, right? And that's why a lot of people nowadays, they get drawn into, you could have someone that looks amazing talking the biggest load of bullshit, right? And people will just believe him. And I was the same. And my mate, he literally was like, if you want to melt fat, you need loads of protein. Protein melts fat. That's what he basically told me. And I'm just like, well, he's not got an ounce of fat on him, right? So, and he looks in great shape. So obviously he knows what he's talking about. He was talking absolute garbage. He didn't have a clue. He just heard it from someone else in the gym or someone else, right? What actually happened was I started eating loads of protein thinking it was going to melt fat. No, eating loads of protein massively suppressed my appetite, which helped me stick to my 2,500 calories a day, which knock-on effect, stuck to a calorie deficit and lost weight. It doesn't melt fat at all. Nothing melts fat, right? How you lose weight is by using more fat than you put back in your body, right? And when I say putting back in your body, I don't mean about eating fat. I mean calories. The calories you consume, whether it's protein, fats, or carbs, converts to fat and stores in your body. And then when you move about on a day-to-day basis, thinking, breathing, walking, whatever you do, burns a certain amount of fat, calories, right? So you burn 3,000 calories of body fat and replace it with 2,000 calories of body fat from what you eat, you're 1,000 calories of body fat down. For every 3,500 calories of body fat difference, you lose a pound of body fat. It's that simple. When I first started going to the gym, exercise caused weight loss. I didn't know why. I had no idea around the science behind it. But people that exercise aren't fat. They are, but that was my mentality. So if I don't want to be fat, I need to exercise because that is the driving factor of weight loss, right? That was my mindset. And I thought no different for about 3 years. Until then, I did my personal training qualifications, which didn't really educate that much. But me being me, educating myself amazingly, and I did. I'm going to hold my hands up. I did. I put loads of extra effort in. I was a right geek with it, right? And I started to understand thermodynamics. And then I'm like, why am I putting so much emphasis on exercise? Like, I go to the gym 4 times a week and I burn 1,200 calories. 1,200 calories is a third of one of those. So if exercise is only losing me a third of one of those, how am I losing another? Because I was losing 2 to 3 pounds a week throughout my journey. How am I losing the other 2.5, 2 2/3 of a pound then? If exercise is only losing me one of those, calories are always going to be number one. You're in a calorie deficit, and that's when I started looking at how much calorie burn your metabolism is, how much calorie burn you get from walking, and that's where I'm like, right. But what I didn't understand was at the start of my journey, which I started to understand, was how amazing exercise was for my mental health. And obviously, I was a massive emotional eater, right? But from doing exercise and lots of other contributing factors, but exercise, amazing for this. So I'm like, right. So really, from the start of my journey, from adding exercise straight into my lifestyle, it's improved this. And because I've constantly improved this, that has then stopped me, eating 2,000 calories at nighttime when I'm lonely, eating 2,000 calories when I'm angry, eating 2,000 calories because I don't get that angry anymore. I'm not that lonely anymore. I'm not that frustrated anymore. I'm not overly tired anymore. I'm not constantly living in fear anymore, right? And exercise was a big contributing factor to that. So although I put these things in that massively helped at the start of my weight loss journey, I didn't know the true benefits of them, right? Now I do. And that's what I talked to you guys about. So at the start of my going back to Charlotte's question, at the start of my weight loss journey, 2 weeks into my weight loss journey, I went to the doctors and they prescribed me Orlistat and I took it. Took it for 10 days until I basically had an accident, right? And then I stopped taking it. And if I'd not had that accident, I'd have probably took it for longer. I don't know. I can't talk about the past. But when I started my weight loss journey, I was offered a gastric band on the NHS, and they're going to fast track me for it 3 to 6 months. Right? I said no. I said no. If at the very start of my weight loss journey, when they prescribed, instead of prescribing me all the stat, they were literally like, "We can get you in tomorrow for a gastric band. Do you want one?" I probably would have said yes. I generally probably, if they put me on the spot and said, "Do you want it?" I'd have probably said yeah, right? Because I was uneducated. But when they put me on the list for one, and they said over the 3 to 6 months of the waiting time, that's when I did loads of my own research about it. And by doing loads of my own research, and I actually reached out to people that had bands, and I reached out to people that had gastric sleeves as well, right? I made an educated decision to go, I don't want that. And I think that was also helped by the fact that I was doing, after 3 months, I went into the and I said, take me off the list. I'm not interested. All right? I'm just going to do it myself. And I think that decision was helped massively by how well I did over the first 3 months. It was the best I've ever done on a diet. And after 6 months, and I say this not being big-headed, I knew I cracked it. I knew 6 months into my journey, I knew I cracked it. I didn't think I'd get down to losing half my body weight. Didn't think I'd get down to losing half my body weight, become a personal trainer, and I didn't think I'd get that far, but I knew I was going to end up in a much better place than I had been. So I knew I cracked it. After 6 months, it was then just a matter of time as the weight. And it doesn't mean I've not had my troubles. I have, right? But I knew. I don't know how to describe it. 6 months in, I'm like, I'll smash this. And I've never felt like that before, So it's a very tough one to answer. It's a very tough one to answer, but I think the likelihood would have been more of a yes than a no. But again, I'm very logical in thinking I would have done a lot of research behind it. I was also very much at the start of my weight loss journey, very worried about putting my body through certain things. So I would have taken into account a lot of the side effects of it. And don't get me wrong, the side effects of being 37 stone well outweigh the side effects of being on a medication. But I've always been not anti-medication. I'm not anti-medication at all. I'm not like anti-vax or anything like that. But I think I've always been very, very worried about I did since starting my weight loss. I mean, not pre-30, so I absolutely destroyed my body. But since starting my weight loss journey, I've always been a lot more worried, like the damage I've done. So anything that I know could have an adverse effect to my body, it's about it. Do the positives outweigh the negatives, or do the negatives outweigh the positives? I don't know. I'm always very much like that. Yeah. I guess if you may not have been as educated as you are and have what you have now. I've got an addictive personality, and I think people are addicted to Manjaro. I think people have got an addiction. I don't think there's an addiction in terms of it's a drug, but I've noticed it with clients and the way they talk. I'm literally like, you're talking like you can't live without it. If you feel like you can't live without something, you're addicted. I've got a very addictive personality. I've been addicted to a lot of things, from gambling to alcohol to food throughout my life, smoking, lots of addictions. And I think I would have become there's different types of addiction. So it's not like smoking or alcohol, but yeah, that and that's something I've realized. I've spoke to a couple of clients recently, and I think they've developed an addiction to Manjaro, and I think that's going to be as hard to break. A lot of people are addicted to drugs, feel like, how am I going to cope with life without this drug? And I feel that a lot of people, the way they're talking about MJ, are talking like that. How am I going to cope without it? If that is your mindset around it, you don't think, how am I going to cope with that? I take painkillers, right, because of my arthritis, right? I'm also medicated to help with my arthritis as well. But there are people out there that are like, how am I going to cope with life unless I take naproxen? That's a type of addiction, right? If you're literally thinking, if you think you can't cope without anything for a month, right? You're addicted to it. So that, and I would have become addicted to it. It would have become an addiction, right? Which again, if you have an addiction to something, you've not got a healthy relationship with it. And if you've not got a healthy relationship with something, it's never going to be a long-term positive, right? It might be a short-term positive in the fact that you lose a lot of weight, but it's going to be a long-term negative. So I think that's another factor to it, you know. And like I say, it's not addictive. It's like, it's not an addiction the same as like heroin might be, or alcohol or something like that. But you know, I think people are definitely developing addictions to it. You know, if you're starting going, how can I lose weight without it? Well, just stick to your calories. And I know it's not quite as easy as that, but yeah, I think that's another fear with MJ that is going to have to be crossed. Will test my coaching powers even more. But I'm all right with that. Right, I've got to go. I said I was going in 5 minutes and I've done an extra 15. Right, I am out of here, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. That is it for Facebook and YouTube for this week. But we've got an extra live tomorrow morning. Rachel is, what's she having done to her? I don't know. Eyebrows or something. No idea. But she's in at 8:30 in the morning. So she's not coming to the gym with me tomorrow. Yeah, I'm a lone wolf tomorrow for the gym. And if I'm a lone wolf going to the gym on a Saturday, that means an extra live. But it will just be on TikTok because I'll be in the car. So tomorrow morning, we will be doing another live. I'm going to try and get to the gym for about 8 o'clock. So we might get an hour in. We might get an hour in before I go and do my spin class. I don't know. It depends what time. But look out. I will definitely be on for 8:15 in the morning. But I'm going to try and get on for about 8 o'clock and finish just before 9. So if you follow me on TikTok, I'll see you in the morning. If you don't follow me on TikTok, make sure you follow me on TikTok. And I will see you in the morning. Certainly by 8:15. I'm going to try and get there for 8 o'clock and do nearly an hour with you guys. So have a great Friday. Fingers crossed I'll see you in the morning. TikTok, I'll sign off to you first. And then Facebook, YouTube, I'm going to sign off to you second. Have a great Friday. And if you do follow me on TikTok, not just Facebook, YouTube, and you're free, I'll hopefully see you.